Matt shared a testimony. Dustin, who's not here today, but last month Dustin shared a testimony. And today Chris is going to share a testimony.
Awesome. Thanks. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say thanks for Harry to give me the opportunity today to share my testimony with everybody. And I also just want to start by thanking God for using me and my story. And I'll start off by introducing myself. And my name's Chris. I've been coming to Word of Life since October, November of last year. What I'm going to share with you today is about 4 years ago, I was a much different guy. I had pretty bad anxiety and depression, and life kind of finds a way to get you in over your head. And I had no idea what I was doing with my life. For a long time, I thought that the world would kind of be a better place if, I didn't so much fit in it. So I kind of tried to plan an exit strategy for that for a long time. And I found a verse from Psalm 34:18, and it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And, it's the first time I'm kind of talking about this to everybody, but the Lord told me it's time to open up and just share my story. So I'm going to try to do that as best I can today. And, on Thanksgiving 2021, I tried to unburden myself and, remove myself from the playing field. And God had different plans for me that day. I wasn't walking with him at that time, but he was walking with me. And, I found another verse from Psalm 40, verse 2, says, "He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire, and he set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand." And, it wasn't a enjoyable time at that point in life. And so, it wasn't the first struggle or the last one, unfortunately. So, 9 months after that time, I decided my life wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I told my wife at the time that I wanted a divorce. And we had 3 kids between us, and just wasn't going the way that it was supposed to be going. And I was kind of just following my own plan, not knowing that it was, God's plan for me in my life, because, a lot of things were happening, but I'm going to try to keep it brief, so that I don't get too far into it. But, a year went by, going to work every day, raising my sons. I've got 2 boys. Found myself into a different relationship at the time. Things were going okay, but something was stirring up with me. I kept finding myself online on different platforms, finding different debates about people talking about Christianity and about Jesus and his love for us. And I discovered a pastor named Cliff Connectley and his son Stuart, and they go around to different college campuses and offering debates to people, and they share just their knowledge that they have from their perspective and what they've been through in the world. And there was a discussion that really hit me that Cliff was talking about, and it was about resentment and about how it can get in the way of your relationship with God. And he explained how we need to ask God to help us forgive and let go of the pain, because holding on to it blocks us from fully walking with him. And that really spoke to me. I didn't know how to do that at the time, but I wanted to. And that's kind of what got me started learning how to walk and talk with God and actually connect with him in a real way. And Jeremiah 29:13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." And that's what I did. I started finding a lot of people, great people, brothers and sisters online through platforms like TikTok, who I could ask questions to and just really seek guidance in ways that I didn't know before. And they really helped me figure out a good place to start at with a lot of things. And it's where I started to learn about finding a prayer closet for yourself so that you can go and talk to God. Because I kind of grew up at the church, and it was just pray on Sunday again, go to sleep, go through your work week, and then pray on Sunday again. And when I learned about a prayer closet, my life changed. And as I was putting this together, and this is a side note from my notes, of course, it kind of fits with our summer series of learning about prayer. And so it kind of means a lot to me that I'm kind of getting to speak about this today. But after I learned about that, I decided that my bathroom and my shower was going to be my prayer closet, because there's not a more private place than that for us to be at. No one's going to come barging in and say, hey, what are you doing in there? I'm showering, I'm talking to God. You can mind your way and just stay out the way. And on that day, I prayed a prayer, and it went something like this. I said, Lord, I'm sorry for trying to do this life on my own. I can't do it alone. I'm a broken man. I'm hurting daily, battling loneliness and childhood trauma. I don't want to carry this anymore. Please help me turn from my sin. Help me know what it means to be truly loved. Lord, I just need a hug because I'm hurting. And Psalm 51:17 says, a broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. And after I prayed that prayer, I felt that I needed, a hug in the worst way in my life. And I got it. In that moment in my prayer closet, Jesus wrapped his arms around me and he just held me close. And it was the best hug that I could ever describe, and I don't even have the words to articulate it, honestly. After that, I started praying for my son so that he could have a relationship with God. And, due to our custody situation, I kind of had to leave it for him and his own curiosity to develop on his own. And we went to a doctor's appointment for him one day. And he was like, hey, Dad, I know about Jesus. And he took my breath away, because I hadn't talked to him about him yet. And I was like, what do you know about him? He's like, well, I know he died, and he died on a cross. And I said, well, do you know what else he did? I said, he came back to life 3 days later, and he did that for you, and he did that for me. And he's like, wow. And we were listening to Brandon Lake really heavy, just in the car every day when we were driving around. And about a week later, I was taking him to school, and I got to his bus stop, and he said, Dad, I want to be a Christian like you. And he broke my heart, because his mom isn't of the faith, unfortunately. And so he had a very harsh decision to make, whether he wanted to be like his mom or be like his dad. And he decided he wanted to be like his dad and have a relationship with Jesus. And, there's not many things that make a dad cry quite like your son saying out of nowhere, hey, Dad, I want to be like you. Especially when he says it, he wants to be like you because you have a relationship with God. And so my son, he just started blowing me away. He was praying with his friend on the bus to and from school. He's like, Dad, I need a Bible for my friend at school. And, then created another problem, because I didn't have a spare Bible for this little kid. The church I was going to at the time, I told them about this, and they're like, hold on, let me go get you one. And I was like, okay. And so they gave me an older Bible that they had, and I took it for him, and I said, buddy, I don't know how I feel about peddling out Bibles to kids at school. That might cross some boundaries and make some parents feel kind of way. But if you want to give them a Bible, I'm going to give it to you, and you can give it to him. And I gave him the Bible, and he gave it to his friend that day, and his friend got off the bus, and he's like, the Bible's from you? Thank you so much. I can't wait to read it. And, my son told me that they started reading the Bible that day. But let's see here. I guess to wrap this kind of up, just to kind of keep it short, like I promised Harry I would here. I guess my last part I want to say is just that if you don't hear anything else from me today, I just hope that you hear that God's waiting for you to hand over the things you've been carrying in your life, and that he was waiting for you to lay it down at his feet and trust him to handle it, and have faith that he will work it out for his purpose. Because Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And, I stand here today as somebody who tried to throw everything away. And I was spared because God had another plan for me. And if anybody hears this and was ever in the place that I used to be in, know that God has a place for you, and he has a mission for you to do. It's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be shiny and glory, but it's going to have meaning, and you're going to find it. But that's kind of all I got today. So I was like, oh man.
Thanks.
You're welcome.